Boys and girls, this is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Larson. It's me, Dexter Lumis, NXT Superstar. So here's my shout out to the Going In Raw podcast. Clever name.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We will be live for our Survivor Series reactions this coming Sunday at the YouTube. And then right after that, we'll be heading on over to the Twitch to do our recap of Survivor Series. Larson, quick, what's the best Survivor Series match in history? It's Montreal Screwjob. It's Montreal Screwjob.
Goldberg versus Lesnar.
Oh, yeah. That was a shocking one.
Shocking.
Contract negotiations gone wrong, the Montreal Screwjob.
Yep.
We saw the Orlando Screwjob last night that John Gargano was talking about it. I thought that NXT was sort of like a tale of two NXTs last night. The first hour was kind of weird, and then the second hour was actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, the first hour felt like an hour of Raw.
It kind of did.
You know, because it's like, all right, there's some decent stuff here, but gosh, there's like no pace to it, no momentum. And then it picked up in the second hour for sure. We got two massive reveals. Well, one massive reveal last night, that being War Games is coming back.
Why did they not put? Because I had to watch it on the network.
I'm guessing this is why. So during that commercial break, the first commercial break of the main event, they were tended to Io because she took that rough bump on the apron, and so that delayed the match.
Oh,
like the pacing of what they had laid out for the match. This is just a guess. I don't have any information.
Sure, yeah.
And so that's probably why they rushed Finn out as soon as that match was over.
Oh yeah,
to do his stuff, and they just had to go when they had to go, because I'm sure maybe a situation where there was no overrun planned.
Yeah, right.
And so they got to the point where it's like, okay, there's a beatdown. All right, we have to go, so let's just go now. We'll do the rest on .com.
Wow.
That's my guess. Because
no, you're probably right.
Basically, that entire first commercial break, they were tending to EO.
Because why else would Finn came out during EO's exit.
It kind of felt like that's. We could speculate. Like, that's that for Rhea and NXT. She's done everything.
I have that in my Steve notes. She will either show up to challenge Asuka on Monday, or she'll show up, maybe somebody on one of the teams, one of the Survivor Series teams. Maybe they'll get laid out or something, and she'll take their place.
Is there a spot on the women's SmackDown team still? Open? Because, she can just pop up on Friday.
The women's SmackDown team? No, there isn't, because it's the two tag teams. Wait, no, sorry. What am I thinking? The SmackDown team is...
Here, I'll look it up.
Bianca...
There's Bianca, Ruby Riott, Liv, and then two TBD.
Oh, wow. I feel like she'd be a better fit on Raw, but whatever. SmackDown's cool, too.
Yeah.
Because, my thing is, Asuka's just sitting there on Raw.
I know.
Like, with nobody.
Nothing with Asuka. Maybe they're just waiting until Charlotte comes back.
That could be, but if you do Rhea right now, and, that can be a Rhea versus Asuka thing for a spell. And, I love Asuka, but, give them a couple matches where Rhea ends up with the Raw Women's Championship, and then bring Charlotte back for that WrestleMania rematch in front of people.
Maybe they want to do the inverse. Maybe they want to have Rhea versus Charlotte, with Charlotte walking in as champion.
Yeah, that could be. But yeah, no, clearly Rhea Ripley is done with NXT. So regardless of where she goes, hell of a match between those two last night also. That was, I actually felt, I don't know if the match ever would have made it to a takeover necessarily, but man, that match, and then the other, the women's tag match, dude, Ember Moon,
she's so damn good, man.
You don't see strikes like that outside of maybe NXT UK, or New Japan. They're crisp. Her strikes are so legit.
She basically super kicked
Raquel Gonzalez.
Raquel Gonzalez's head off.
Oh, I know. But even just like a normal punch, a normal chop, it's all so crisp and clean. And everybody in that match, and Raquel Gonzalez is just getting better and better.
Ember Moon reminds me a lot of Buddy Murphy in that everything Buddy does and everything Ember does, she does with purpose. It's just not like she's going through the motions, as if this is choreographed thing, so I got to do this and this and this. It's like one thing leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. Everything has a purpose and everything has a sense of urgency to it. It's great.
That's a great comparison. But yeah, the biggest thing, of course, is War Games. There's 2 confirmed War Games matches. Shotzi Blackheart is captaining her War Games team against Candice LeRae, who's captaining her.
So I have a part of me is wondering why they didn't hold off on this Io and Rhea match till TakeOver. And part of it could be Survivor Series, obviously. The other aspect of it maybe is that Shotzi's going to ask Io to be a member of her team as well, because they're not going to have a takeover without the women's champion on the card in some capacity.
They might have a takeover without the men's champion on the card.
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, obviously, because he's probably. I mean, it might be fortuitous, I guess, that War Games is here because War Games is the thing. Like if him being the champion, it gives him more time to recuperate. He doesn't really need to be around.
The spectacle of War Games is the main event, not any belt per se. Yes,
I'm not even sure why he was there. I mean, I get why he was there last night. Hey, when he said it when the cat's away, the mice will play. But and then he says, but look at what the cat dragged in. And then he brings out Undisputed Era. There was no need. I mean, realistically, there was no need for Finn Balor except to say, hey, you think you're the alpha around here? I'm the alpha. But then he sort of awkwardly shoehorns, oh, by the way, I got Undisputed Era out here. And they're
he put that picture up on Twitter of him and AJ and Adam Cole, like all in suits. And it was
he did do that,
super photoshopped, and it said like the club on the bottom or something like that. So maybe the band's getting back together in some respect.
That'd be rad. That'd be really cool. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and kick it off because War Games is a pretty big deal. It's just, I mean, if they wanted to do if they were short for time, maybe say, hey, Pat, don't talk as much. Because my God, he was talking forever and a day. I'm so over him already, dude. I'm so over him. He is like beyond Shane McMahon territory at this point for me. I just want him to be gone.
I'm kind of with you.
Yeah. So it kicked off with North American champion Leon Ruff versus John Gargano in their rematch.
I like that before the match began, so Leon comes to the ring. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I guess it's fitting about what I'm about to say, though. So they're running this Leon Ruff video package, and then Johnny comes out. John says, enough of that crap.
Yeah.
Last week, fluke. Leon, you're just a pawn in Jamie and Priest's game to make John Gargano look like a fool. And then it says, Leon, you're not a real champ. I'm the real champ. Calls Ruff a joke. Tonight, joke is over. Title's coming home with Gargano. He clocks Leon. Bell rings, match begins.
Yeah. And I like that Gargano was playing the power game with Leon Ruff because for once he's the bigger guy. He's got the size advantage. So he doled out like a power bomb.
Yeah, that was a nasty power bomb too.
That was a nasty power bomb. So it was sort of like their first match where John would get the advantage a lot, but Ruff would come back, all sorts of cool, crazy, athletic, twisty stuff. Try to get that crucifix pin again, but this time got leveled by John. They got lawn darted twice by Gargano. So he hits the power bomb, then one final beat, and then Damian Priest, who had come out earlier, pulls Ruff out of the ring when Gargano goes for the pin, and then looks at Johnny, sort of smiles, looks at Leon, says, "Sorry, kid," gives him a nasty forearm. Of course, that means Johnny Gargano loses. John due to DQ. Priest puts the title. He starts running off with Leon Ruff and just sort of puts the title on the kid's head.
Yeah.
He's all laughing up the ramp. Leon Ruff was not happy about that. We'll find out more about that later.
That was pretty good. After that, we had Cameron Grimes promo. So he showed last week he wasn't afraid of Dexter Lumis after covering up his eyes. And after he wins the blindfold match, he'll be going to the moon. And then we get blindfold match. Man, this is a missed opportunity, I felt like. Grimes was funny, but they didn't really do anything that clever with it, I didn't think.
Oh, I think that are you saying that because you think because obviously it didn't have like a finish? Because
well, I'm saying
thought
it's like they couldn't wait to get the blindfolds off them.
yeah, it was kind of an anti-blindfold match. Yeah, but I thought the opening stuff was pretty good. Like Grimes, insisting
doing the fun splash on hitting nothing. Yeah, I understand all that. But like advertise a blindfold match, give me a blindfold match.
Well, this was I loved it because just the opening bits where he's like, number one, he doesn't want to look Lumis in the eyes because his eyes freak him out. So he's trying not to do that. He's telling the ref, put the blindfold on, put the blindfold. He does, and the ref is like, okay, and Grimes is about to punch Lumis, and he's like, ref's like, dude, you have to put it on too. And he's like, but I can't see with this thing on.
Yeah,
he's like,
it's
a blindfold match.
I just want a blindfold match. I mean, like, is it going to be good? No, but when Jake Roberts and Rick Martel did it years ago, they found a way to make it creative and interesting.
Oh, man, yeah. I weren't your expectations so because everybody dumps on that match.
Oh yeah, totally.
I feel like your expectations were so low.
Oh, they were in the gutter basically. But then I saw how they were booking and orchestrating the match. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty clever. And I was like, you got Cameron Grimes, you got Dexter Lumis. They're in NXT. They should come with be able to come with a clever take on the blindfold match. It was starting to be that, and then you had the bit where Grimes backs up and starts beating up the ref because he thinks he's Lumis. That's funny, but then as soon as the blindfolds come off, I'm like, okay, they're just trying to find a way to get out of this blindfold match thing, and then we didn't get a finish of the match.
We've seen other blindfold matches, haven't we? Have we?
I mean, that's the Jake Roberts is the most famous.
That's the main one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I think that they could have done a lot more with it. I thought what we got was pretty clever, and then Lumis ends up throwing Grimes into the barricade. He hops over and runs away, and then Lumis sort of gets up into the camera. I mean, it's they're playing out sort of a comedy horror movie angle. They have been since the Halloween Havoc. I was fine with it. I didn't think. I mean, that this obviously isn't their blow off, and I mean maybe it could have been if they actually went through and tried to book like a 12-minute or a 15-minute blindfold match properly. But I thought this was, it was what it was. I was fine with it. Backstage after, I only gave it 1 star. So evidently in the moment, I didn't think that too much highly of it. But looking back, I thought the Grimes stuff was really funny.
After that, sorry, go ahead.
So Regal is backstage yelling at Priest, saying like, what the hell? You can't just be doing that. Ruff comes up. He lays into Priest. He's like, dude, you think I'm a joke? Everybody around here thinks I'm a joke. I'm a champion. And Priest is apologetic. And he's like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't, I was just trying to get Johnny. I didn't want him to get the title. And then Ruff says, okay, I'm sorry. And then slaps the shit out of Damian Priest and then walks off.
Yeah, that was good. After that, we had the official announcement of War Games, December 6th. Shotzi Blackheart she's saying something like it's time to start rebuilding. You got to assume she's rebuilding her tank. They got Black Sabbath's War Pigs playing in the background. And she says, hey, Candice, we're going to war December 6th, and they had the logo tank and all that stuff. So it's official.
Shotzi is going to be huge. And the WWE, I haven't seen them put this much behind a person. And I don't know how long. I mean, man, she's totally going to end up getting the win here, getting the pin for her team. Yeah, she's huge right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that we had Kacy Catanzaro and Kayden Carter versus Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell. Man, I'm not huge on throwing together tag teams, beating well-established tag teams. This was a pretty entertaining match, and they made Kacy and Kayden look pretty good. I like that Kayden, they try to call her sister Abigail a flatliner, even though it was clearly a sister Abigail. But so she hits that, but Candice comes live, hits a brain buster, then a wicked stepsister for 3 as Indi Hartwell takes out Kacy Catanzaro, so she can't break up the pin.
Yep.
Then Raw superstar Arturo Ruas came back.
Coming next, the video package.
How did he get back to NXT? And Aleister Black couldn't get back to NXT, man.
I mean, they canceled Raw Underground. That's how.
I guess so. I guess that's how.
But it's always funny to me when NXT has coming next, or they have a little vignette or video package for somebody, and then they promptly lose. Now I understand this wasn't a situation where this isn't a Dan Mathis situation,
right?
Like who has had put on a good fight. against Kushida, but he still lost. So it's a pretty good submission, technical wrestling back and forth. Kushida has a wrist lock. Ruas tries to counter with a D-bar, and Kushida bridges for like a pinning combo, gets the win that way. So it's more of an opportunistic win as opposed to, like a tap-out situation.
Right.
But still, you have this little video package hyping up somebody, and then they lose.
Yeah, no, I feel you. NXT, they'll do that from time to time, and I like the swerve aspect of it because you're like, oh, what jobber is he going to take on? And then Kushida's package rolls, and it's like, oh, you're about to lose.
See, at certain times I do appreciate that, but then sometimes I want him to actually Ruas has been in NXT for a long time.
Yeah.
Are they going to utilize him? Are they actually going to try to do something with him? Because he's done some interesting stuff.
Man,
his whole presentation is really kind of cool and interesting. At least explore what you can do with them instead of just jobbing them out.
I kind of think this is just this is why they really need a second NXT show on, well, maybe I guess a third because of UK on the network to feature guys like he could be a main event player on, WWE Evolve. You know what I mean? Whatever they're going to call it. Him. Why have they not done anything with Bugenhagen? Where's Rick Bugenhagen? This guy has got charisma, insane camera charisma. Part of me just thinks, and this is probably, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. I just assume it's something at the Performance Center that I don't see that they see in terms of these people being ready or not for TV.
That's totally what it is. I'm sure that's totally what it is. And now that they're not doing the Florida house show loop, I'm sure the ring time and that in between, the Performance Center being closed for a spell for training, I'm sure some of the people that are in there, that the purely developmental talents, they might be in WWE's eyes behind where they would have been otherwise. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like AEW. AEW just roll up in there and they'll just throw to the Wolves on Dark. And if you take it, I don't know how that's going to play out, with getting TV time for a bunch of other people. But yeah, NXT, it's funny, or WWE in general, it's like they seemingly have some talent. Like Xia Li for the longest time wasn't seen anywhere. She's super talented. So anyway, now she finally has somewhat of a story. So yeah, there was that. After that, we had an Ember Moon Tony Storm interview.
Ember Moon was great here. Ember Moon was really good. She's natural. She was comfortable.
Ever since she got back, she is so much more comfortable on the mic. I don't know why. Maybe they're scripting less. Maybe, I don't know why. Maybe the time off, that's something she worked on.
I kind of just feel like she's just being her now before
she knows who she is, yeah.
They're telling her, this is your character. And maybe it was just an ill fit. I just feel like she's just being her now, and it's working really well.
I agree. I totally agree. So she says some sort of babyface stuff, and then Tony says, Ember, I know we're tagging tonight, but, when it comes to the NXT women's title, just know that that's still my goal. Ember says, well, let's just worry about tonight, and then we'll worry about the rest later on. But no, I have it written down here in my Steve notes, accessible if you're a Friendo Club TV member. That Ember is much more comfortable on the mic these days. After that, we had some predictions from various NXT people about Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai.
I kind of feel like they should keep Triple H out of making these predictions. We know he books this stuff.
Him, Road Dogg. I'll be honest. Full disclosure, I kind of saw what was going on, and I was already fast forwarding, so I just kept on fast forwarding.
Oh, all right.
Who did Triple H pick?
Rhea.
That's not surprising. Did they interview Heartbreak? Because that's what.
Yes.
Did you see the little video of Gargano and Candice and Indi Hartwell? He kept on referring to HBK as just Heartbreak. So I wonder if that's what they refer to him. He's like, "Where's Heartbreak? Who's doing this stuff? He knows about the Montreal screw job. This is the Orlando screw job." It was pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
Did Shawn Michaels didn't make an appearance?
I think so. I kind of was half paying attention. So I saw where this was.
Okay.
Road Dogg was there with his NXT mask, pulled down.
Yeah. So after that, I saw he has sort of a werewolf face these days. After that, we had Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon and Toni Storm. Something occurred to me while writing Gonzales' name down a lot. She's going to get it. When she goes to Maine, she's going to get like a new... You hear the thing about Chelsea Green, how she was they almost renamed her Victorious, which is a terrible name. But Raquel Gonzales, it's sort of a like just a normal name. It's like, a name on a driver's license, right?
Yeah.
They're going to rename her.
Probably.
And honestly, they should, because she comes off as so much bigger of a star than just a Raquel. You know what I mean? She is great. Like she's
really good.
Really developed. She's understood like what her strengths are. That bit where so Raquel gets Ember in a submission. I forget if it was like the one where she's sort of on her back.
That was like the gory special type thing.
The gory, yeah. So Ember like flips over the top and goes over to the ropes. Raquel comes charging at her. Ember drops down. Raquel goes out. But Raquel doesn't miss a beat. Like as soon as Ember like sort of stumbles back to the middle of the ring, Raquel has run around the ring, got back in, and lays her out.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. It's like that's how you book a monster, is like just they can't just be large and lumbering. They have to be relentless and always coming at you.
And savvy.
Yeah.
Because I remember that spot. She ran around because Ember was going for the tag to Tony, and she goes and intercepts so she can get the tag and lays her out. I recall that. Yes, that was good.
Terrifying stuff, but yeah.
So the finish saw Toni Storm and Dakota Kai trade some kicks. Raquel pushes Storm into the ring post. Moon hits her with a suicide dive. That was great. And then back in the ring, Toni Storm rolls up Dakota Kai for the win. And pretty much as soon as the match is over, Candice and Indi lay out Ember Moon and Toni Storm from behind. Dakota Kai and Raquel get in on that action. And Raquel hits both Ember Moon and Toni with power bombs. So you can see Candice's team take shape. We're going to get Candice, Indi, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzales. I'm guessing Shotzi will be herself, Ember Moon, Toni Storm. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Io Shirai.
Yeah,
given the conversation in the interview earlier between Ember and Toni about the NXT title. Yeah. So face team wins, and the three of them start jockeying for position to get title shots.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be a hell of a match.
So like in Takeover, we're gonna have 2 War Games matches. We're gonna have a triple threat for the North American title. It's looking like. Yep, that seems right. And then anything else shaping up?
War Games.
North American title. There'll be at least one more, I would think.
The tag champs are
probably Thatcher and Ciampa.
Oh, yeah.
Because that happened next.
Yeah, that was funny. So we get a quick shot of the Kings of NXT, or with the brand, whatever they're called. They go inside, they arrive. Then we get Timothy Thatcher versus August Gray. And a decent enough match. Every time Thatcher tries to go for a submission, August is able to counter. He goes up top. Thatch sort of catches him, gets him into a neck crank. August ends up tapping out.
Yeah.
Thatch goes, there's another lesson for you. Don't pick a match. Don't pick a fight with a guy you can't beat. And then Super Ciampa comes out.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about all these promos that he's been dropping.
Well, we called it last week. That's what we said. Is like, well, he's talking about taking liberty with somebody. Maybe he's going to have a feud with Thatcher. Sure enough.
Yeah. But I mean, he also was talking about like fake tough guys.
And like Thatcher's. Well, I mean, like part of the since they've been doing the Thatch live in ring, it's not like he's immediately and consistently like working over everybody to such a degree that is utter dominance at first.
Yeah.
Like pretty much what he does is he pisses them off. They start to fight back, and then at the risk of being humiliated, he destroys them.
Yeah.
So I guess in that sense, you could interpret that if one is Tommaso Ciampa as Thatcher being a fake tough guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just Thatcher seems like a real tough guy.
He seems like a legit tough guy. I understand that.
But
he's got,
your
teeth and stuff, Yeah.
And he's from Sacramento. Your point is sound, though. Anyways, he comes out, gets into the ring, and Thatch says, I got no problem with you. He leaves. And then backstage, Ciampa interview, Mackenzie asked, what was that all about? And he said, I thought I made it pretty obvious. I want to fight Timothy Thatcher. That will be a killer takeover match. Just an absolute, that'll be a killer one.
Yeah, this takeover is shaping up to be pretty solid. After that, we were supposed to have Damian Priest in action. However, John Gargano attacks him. Mm-hmm. So they're brawling all over the place, in and out of the ring. And then Leon Ruff comes out. He drop kicks Priest off the apron. Mm-hmm. And then as he's getting back on the apron, he sends John into Priest with some head scissors. And then Ruff clears the ring. He's holding the North American title. There's this great shot of both Priest and Gargano kind of at the same time rising up. So you see them, their heads come from, like the floor of the ring.
Yeah.
And they're pissed. So they storm into the ring. And as they get in, Leon Ruff runs up to the top of the stage, holds up the title. Both Priest and Gargano are fuming. And then Priest looks over to Gargano, and Gargano gets out of there.
Yeah. I thought this was really good stuff. I love that Leon Ruff he's such a proxy for like the normal person. I mean, he's not like he does moves that are just awesomely athletic and so creative.
Yeah.
But being such a small guy, even compared to Gargano and being in a land of giants, it's you immediately identify with that guy. You immediately understand.
Yeah, he's
him.
the consummate underdog.
Yeah, it's great.
We got some cool news next week. Kevin Owens is filling in for Wade Barrett.
Yeah. I know I'm the bearer of bad news. Not going to be here next week, but my good friend, Kevin Owens.
No, I liked how he said, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news.
Oh, yeah. I just like whenever he says bad news.
I know. There's a twist on it this time.
Man, I was hyped when I heard because I had heard about the Kevin Owens thing, I think, like earlier. And I'm like, man, just let him come back. Let him come back. He's on this meaningless Survivor Series SmackDown team that's going to get annihilated by Team Raw. He's not doing anything. Just bring him back to NXT. Like, can you imagine Ciampa versus Kevin Owens, Timothy Thatcher versus Kevin Owens, and then, of course, a whole new year of life for Adam Cole in NXT with Kevin Owens there. Are you kidding me? Oh, man.
It really books itself.
It books itself. It really does.
It really does. So after that, I guess it'd be Tuesday. William Regal endeavored to go to Boa's apartment. Knocks on his door. Boa opens the door. Looks like he hasn't slept in about a week.
Yeah.
And Regal's like, hey, you haven't been at the PC in a week. You haven't been training. What's up? Boa says, I'm not going to the PC. I'm not training. She's coming.
Yeah, he was having sex in that moment.
Regal says, who? Zaya? She hasn't been to PC in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Boa says, no, not Zaya. She's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, he's spending all his time smashing in his apartment. That's why he looks so tired.
I guess
he's like, she's coming. And he's like, what do you Regal thought he meant somebody's approaching.
Yeah.
But it was Bo face. That's how I took it anyway. He's all tired, sapped of precious bodily fluids. And he's all freaked out because, obviously whoever she is, she won't stop.
All right.
I'm sorry. I thought it was so clever when I wrote that in my notes.
Oh, that actually made it to the notes, huh?
Yeah, I put Hoodie Boa says no, she's coming, but I wrote it the gross way.
Yeah, of course. Then we get our main event: Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai. Hell of a match. Yeah, like that. There's that bit where Rhea hits that electric chair face buster on the apron, and they like pretty much immediately go to picture-in-picture. Refs checking on Io. Trainers come out. Don't know the exact nature of what they were looking at. I guess something with her face, obviously. But she wasn't busted open or anything.
Yeah, that was scary.
And I'm not exactly sure when Rhea got her ear busted open.
Yeah, they did
before that drop kick. They did the replay of.
Oh, it was before that? Okay,
I think so.
Because I didn't know if it was on that or not.
Thought I'd noticed it bleeding before that.
How about that? How about that sunset flip to the off the apron, and then the power bomb through the table. That was awesome. They did a really good job of telling the story of Io like basically destroying Rhea's arm and Rhea powering through that injury enough to be competitive but not be able to hit the riptide because she had two chances to hit a riptide. Two chances, yeah.
And Io reversed it both times. The second time to like a really nasty looking DDT. Rhea spiked herself.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the match, like Rhea was pretty much done. They told a good story with her being able to stay competitive and keep coming back despite the bad arm. But man, that powerbomb spot was crazy.
That was ridiculous. So Rhea barely. This was rad because I so didn't see it coming, and I'm so glad they replayed it a bunch of times. So like Io is in the corner, like she spent from like just having powerbombed Rhea, so she gets in, beats a count. But right on like the 9.5, Rhea gets in, she beats the 10 count, and she sort of rolls in. And as soon as she rolls in, Io hits the moonsault right on her.
On her back,
Yeah, on her back. And that got the win. That was so great. And then they replay, and you see from Io's perspective, like she just sort of is in the corner, and she sees Rhea roll in, and her eyes light up, and she's like, oh, she's in position. She hops up, gets some moonsault. It was
great.
Beautiful finish.
I loved how Rhea was selling when she got back in the ring. Like she was done.
She was done. Yeah, it was all she could do is beat the count, and unfortunately for her, Io had that one last moonsault in her, and that finished it off. Just a brilliant. I mean, that was a takeover level match, man.
It really was. Good. So they had a nice moment at the foot of the ramp where Io hugs Rhea, and they exchanged some words. Plainly obvious, it seems that Rhea's done in NXT. I wish they could have given it a bit more time, and because a lot of times when somebody's done NXT, they get a pretty nice send off. And granted, there's not a huge crowd there, but it's not unusual for when someone is done, they make it pretty obvious they're done. But unfortunately, it seemed like they kind of had to rush this last segment because pretty much as soon as, like I think Rhea was going to raise Io's hand with the belt and stuff, and maybe she saw Finn come out. It's like, all right, we don't have time. I'm just going to go. Because pretty much as soon as Rhea turned around and started walking up the ramp, Finn called for the mic and started talking.
Yeah, I think he walked out when her music was still playing. I don't think they didn't play his. He didn't really get it like an entrance. He just walks out and says, first of all, congratulations to Io. He talks about his jaw having 3 plates in it now. And then the Pat McAfee people come out. McAfee just talks and talks. I have it written in my notes as the Pat McAfee Foundation. But yeah, the Pat McAfee people. And McAfee just goes on and on. If they were short for time, my God, why did somebody say...
He didn't have to go into great detail about everybody that they laid out.
We've been watching, man. We've been watching. It was a detail about everybody. I mean, he even mentions Bob Fish. God, when you're getting that low in the...
Well, no, but it's not like he just said, oh, and Bob Fish. He's like, oh, who's the other guy? The guy with the mustache.
Yeah, it's just forever. It's forever. And robbed us.
And then the punchline, Robert Fish.
Yeah.
Like, just call him Robert Fish to begin with. It's funnier. So anyways, he tells Finn, if you respect wrestling NXT, hand the title over. We've been running the show this whole time you've been gone, or you're going to end up like all the others. And that's when Finn says, yeah, it's easy for the mice to play when the cat's away, but the cat is back, and look what I just dragged in. Undisputed Era hit the ring. Huge brawl breaks out. And then on .com, you have Regal come out, and you got the Undisputed Era just like, oh, man, say it.
Well, it's great because Regal had a big smile on his face.
He was trying to laugh.
He couldn't even talk. He couldn't even talk. And then he says, 8 fighters, 2 teams of 4. I think you know where this is going, gentlemen. And then you can hear Adam and everybody, just say it. Say the words. Please say the words. I'm begging you, just say it. And then he has a big old smile. War Games! I do have to
didn't make the air.
I do. In a moment that didn't make the air, I know. It kind of had a house show feel to it, huh? I do appreciate McAfee's bump on Adam Cole's bro kick. Because he laid him out, and McAfee took that bump like a stud.
Pat McAfee is going off the cage, man.
He is. Yeah,
he's totally going off that cage.
Yeah, I think he's got, dude. I mean, from that last match, he's got some skills. He's obviously taking it seriously. He's doing what they're telling him to do. Like it wasn't on him to run his mouth that much. Like that's what he was ordered to do. So when I call Pat McAfee out, I'm calling out WWE Creative. They should have told him, hey, dial it back, exactly.
Yep, keep it brief.
Yeah, it was a great. I mean, at this point, Regal understands him saying "War Games" is a moment, and it obviously tickles everybody to death.
Yeah,
and McAfee. It's funny because if you look at like Undisputed Era was totally into it. You see Danny Burch. He's got a really menacing grin on his face when he understands that he's going to be in War Games. Everybody else is into it. And you see Pat McAfee. He's like. His reaction was pretty great.
And
too.
It was a pretty good, turnaround with Adam Cole for 3-4 years ago, where it was it was the worst thing he could have heard, and now he's chomping at the bit because War Games despite what their win-loss record might be, that's Undisputed Era's match. They've been in every one of them,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see here. I got some questions up here on Le Patreon. So let me find those. Published. There we go. All right, first up, we've got James Fletcher. Who is the top NXT talent currently on TV, and who is the worst currently on TV? The best talent on TV right now. I don't know, man. It's hard. Like all the stuff I've seen from Ember Moon lately, it's hard for me not to say Ember Moon because she's God dang, her actual like wrestling skills are just so great. Cameron Grimes, in terms of like the personality stuff, I can't get enough of the guy. I think he's terrific.
In terms of all around performer, it's hard to disagree with Adam Cole. Still.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Worst, I don't know.
Man, I don't know. I can't say anybody's like a worst here. I mean, there's guys that I haven't really been too exposed to, like August Gray. I haven't really seen much of him. He doesn't really stand out to me as innovative as like a Leon Ruff, who you see some of the stuff Leon Ruff, it's insane. He makes Grand Metalik look like, you know, like a slow ski. He looks like he looks slow compared. This dude is all over those ropes. Mm-hmm. Whenever you see somebody doing that with the ropes, it's just absolutely crazy. Yeah, I don't have a worst. I mean, even Raquel Gonzalez, who's like, you know, just sort of could be your prototypical big man, so to speak, big woman, I guess. She's doing really fun stuff. Like she is obviously been putting in the work.
I know. Yeah, the level of talent across the board at NXT is off the charts, man.
It really is. It's just a matter of like creative being consistent and using everybody to the best of their ability.
Jonathan, Nia, and Shayna are currently pissed about the other members of the Raw team. They may take another one out? Well, if they're going to do it, they got to do it Sunday before the actual show. So I thought SmackDown is on Friday. There's 2 spots left. Rhea shows up. I mean, I agree. It makes more sense for Rhea to be on Raw, I feel like, but and maybe that will happen. You know, so it's entirely possible that Shayna and Nia could lay, you know, either Peyton Royce or Lacey Evans out and bring on Rhea Ripley.
Okay, wait. So who's on Team SmackDown right now? It's
Bianca,
Ruby Riott.
Ruby Riott.
Natalia is going to be on that team.
Yeah. Liv Morgan's on there.
Liv
right?
Morgan, because it was supposed to be Chelsea Green.
Yeah, so that's the only 3 confirmed right now.
Yeah, here's the thing about Rhea being in a Survivor Series team. She's bigger than that. Because Team Raw is going to win. That's going to be that story is already written. It's Lana. It's Lana. That story is written. That's happening.
Yeah.
So if Rhea shows up for Team Raw, she's overshadowed by that story. If she shows up for Team SmackDown, she's on the losing team. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a spot where, it's a team that desperately needs a 5th person to like lift them up. That's Lana's, that's going to be Lana's moment.
Story. Yeah, that's true. Mr. Dope with the sub. Thank you. Thank you,
Mr. Dope. Let's see here. Big Chris, is Bronson Reed injured or have they halted his push? He's been off TV a bit for now. I know. I've noticed that too. I don't know what the deal is, man.
I don't know either. Dude's a star in the making, man.
He really is. Maybe whomever he's been calling out on Twitter has something to do with it. I don't know. He's been very vocal on Twitter.
He has been.
To some, it might be obvious who he's referring to. Let's see here. Get out of here.
Dangam Q says, sorry, Bo was probably mentioning Karen Q, who has been out injured.
Maybe they're going to read the butt her.
Folsom Joe with the bits. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Folsom Joe. Alex Foster, does NXT have valets? Why do people just leave their cars unattended? It's like, it's their own little office, their own private parking lot. It's fine. They're not worried about it.
Shane's birthday tweet: does talent like Ember and Sonya get better with promos because of a lack of a crowd that could be overbearing or too much? I just think they're just letting them be themselves.
I agree with that. I think that there's kind of evidence for that. Like with Ember Moon, her first run in NXT, they didn't know who she was.
No.
Like it was like this weird battle of, we want you to be this like supernatural person, but then we also just want you to be yourself. And it didn't fit. So it's like now it honestly just feels like they're like, hey, you got a blank canvas, do what you want to do, be creative. I mean, she seems like somebody with a creative mind anyways. If you ever seen like her Twitch channel, she's doing all sorts of cool craft stuff. So, and I think it's really working. Her outfit, like her little entrance mask on the hood thing was rad. It was really cool.
So good. We got our ratings in. That's what White Brownie says. AEW 850.
Wow.
And then NXT 638.
Oh, wow. Ouch. That's an ass whooping.
That is.
That's an old-fashioned ass whooping. Hey, you know what? That's okay. Gregory Fiella. I love that The Undertaker and Last Ride show were just chilling at the bottom of the screen when the McAfee Undisputed Era fight broke out. I know, they were running the Last Ride. They couldn't have truncated that a bit?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how TV works, man. I feel like the TV's all loosey-goosey, I guess.
Legit underboss, that's Jimmy Thomas. Who do you think will be the first person to go from NXT UK to main roster without being full-time in NXT Prime? If Walter wanted to, it would be him.
Yeah, it would totally be him. I could see Ilya Dragunov. I could see him. I think he's like he's got tons of just buckets of intensity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like all intensity.
Of intensity. I think he'd be fun on Raw. Let's see here.
Night by night. Which member of the Undisputed Era would you invite to Thanksgiving dinner with your family, and what would you ask them to bring for the meal?
I would ask Adam Cole to bring his N64 and Virtual Pro Wrestling.
But 64. You have both those things.
I know, but it'd be like, hey, he's like, hey, what can I bring? Hey, bring your N64.
Do this. Ask him to bring his PlayStation 2 and SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, because that's a wrestling game you haven't played. That you don't have. That's supposed to be really good.
All right, then I'll bring the
That's
N64.
The answer.
And 10 minutes into Here Comes the Pain, I'll be like, come on, man, this is crap. Like, can we just play N64? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, man. Christopher Abersad, since Kevin Owens is coming to NXT next week, do you think he'll have a match takeover? No, but I really hope that he mixes it up with somebody to get him back into NXT. Oh, I'm going to be praying for that, man. That's going to be so fun, him and Vic. That's going to be a lot of fun.
That's going to be fun. Snare Freak. I'm currently working in between seeing patients. What is your go-to fast food? Snare Freak says, Whataburger. It's the Dell.
Yeah, give me the Dell. It's the Dell, but lately on the weekends, to entice my child to get ahead on her homework, I'll say, hey, let's do Happy Meal and homework. And she's like, okay. But I got a problem because she wants, with her Happy Meal, chocolate milk, but she also wants a chocolate milkshake on the side. And I'm like, dude, that's too much. That is way too much. So she always gives me shit for that. So it's one of the few things that I won't back down on. You can't have the chocolate milkshake combo.
You got to choose one or the other.
You can't do it. It's too much.
Because essentially it's just two of the same thing. Just one's been chilled, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah. White Brownie, who's next for EO and who should be the one to take the title offer? Either Shotzi or Ember should be the one to take the title off EO.
EO can switch seamlessly between good guy, bad guy. And so, yeah, I think that, man, there's a lot. I mean, dude, you got a lot of great people out there. Right now you got Tony Storm, you got Ember, you got Shotzi. They seem to really, I kind of get the feeling that it's going to be Shotzi, and then Shotzi's going to end up having really great takeover matches with all the other people like Ember Moon and Tony Storm, but it's always Shotzi's going to have the title. Until she goes to main roster, then, it's a free-for-all, but man.
I'm just trying to do something. Every time I see Peter Dune, I blurt out jacked. Power rank top 3 jacked comebacks.
Triple H is number 1.
Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, he came back pretty jacked.
He was humongous.
Remember when Dean Ambrose came back jacked?
That lasted like 3 weeks.
It lasted 3 weeks. It did. That was not natural for him.
Those are the first two that come to mind.
Rusev. Remember when Rusev came back and he was like trim?
Yeah.
But Triple H, it was weird because Triple H, like, these are the lats, right here?
No, those are the trapezius.
The traps. The traps.
Lats were like on the side of your back.
Right here. And his lats, yeah, that's right. No, like, I remember the lats. The lats were massive.
He walked like this because he couldn't put his arms all the way down.
He couldn't put his arms down.
Yeah.
And then it's like he didn't do forearm workouts. Or like the muscles don't grow much in his forearms because like he had the smallest forearms.
I know.
But like everything else was massive.
I know. Twisted Dreams with the sub that says, keep it up. Thank you, Twisted Dreams. Brandon
Monroe. Could NXT have a David Arquette moment and give that NXT title to Pat McAfee? And how would they do it? I'm not going to say never. I'd say like it's a 10% chance. I'm not going to say it's a 2% botch. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No. Dang MQ, Kaylee Ray versus Piper Niven for NXT UK Women's Championship is a really good match. I got to get caught up on NXT UK.
Yeah, I'll honestly just watch that. I'll watch that. I'll watch that match. But man, Walter versus Ilya, holy shit! I got to watch that again. It's so good. War Machine MJ, buy or pass? Ciampa and Thatcher as a tag team.
Pass.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one. And then Patrick Sparks, the B-Man. Regal gets a really euphoric feeling yelling War Games, as does Cameron Grimes going to the moon. What other wrestlers get euphoric over a catchphrase? At one time, Bob Roode got euphoric over saying glorious.
Yeah.
Now he probably hates it. Now
soul sucking.
Hates it. Shinsuke, when he says, yow, ow.
Yeah.
Yow. When he says that. Or come on. When he says come on. That's the one I'm
because he has his hands down there too,
Come on. Like Boa, she's coming.
Yeah, those are good answers. I'm trying to think of somebody else. Well, I mean, anytime anybody DX said suck it, pretty much too.
Yeah, pretty much.
ANJ Network, none of them do, I guess, in terms of women challenging Io. It says Io goes to main roster and vacates the title like Asuka.
Here's the thing, though. Back then, Ember Moon was, no offense to Ember Moon, because obviously I'm a big fan. Nobody at that time was on Asuka's level or even close. I feel like with Io, they have a better opportunity. They had the talent, the depth of talent is just way stronger. So like you could have Shotzi take it off Io and have it be believable. Back then, it really wasn't. I mean, they had that one match where where I think Asuka had like to do a shortcut to
we were there
corner.
That was a good match.
It was, but like I don't know. I never saw it with Asuka. I felt like with that match, they were trying to force the hand. They were trying to be like, okay, look, Asuka's really dominant, but she has to cut a corner here. But it just didn't feel natural. It's like she's had such a dominant run.
White Brownie, Power Rank 5 gimmicks that didn't work in the past but can work now.
Well, just give me one.
Mantar.
I'll give you one, you give me one. Mantar.
I mean, that's what Taurus is at AAA.
Yeah,
he's
true.
awesome.
That's true. Mantar. All right, I'll come up with one. Didn't work in the past.
Repo Man.
Mordecai was on Talking Shop-A-Mania too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Repo Man, yeah, you could do Repo Man now, but didn't that work? I mean, that's not considered a success?
I mean, he didn't really do anything as Repo Man, especially compared to Barry Darsow in his previous iteration was member of Demolition, dominant tag team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As funny as he was as Repo Man, I still understand why he had a tire tread mark across his abdomen.
Because he tried to repo a car and he got ran over.
Yeah, but then he shouldn't be wrestling.
Well, he got it fixed.
Well,
he got his insides fixed.
Potential internal injuries. I don't know how easily one could come back from that, especially in the early 90s. Medicine was not as good in the early 90s as it is now, Steve.
This is a great answer. Man Mountain Rock.
Haystacks Calhoun.
Haystack. Oh, he was super over. All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Twitch chat. Stick around. We'll hang out for a second. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steve and Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steve and Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steve and Larson.